Like you're searching for people who get you.
Yeah.
And that was me. I was searching for people who get me, but I didn't find that many. And so that discouraged me from sharing.
But it's funny how in doing that and helping families to become self-sufficient, that actually changed the way I thought about life in general. So my job is to help teachers become teachers. And in the midst of it, a lot of times our students are going through life. I started photography because my son was being born. I didn't start because I was having a business. I started because I wasn't doing music anymore. I was in poetry contests in the 3rd grade. I was in art school. So yeah, I would say maybe like, as far as I can remember, 8 or 9.
Man, I was reading one of your books to my son last night, right? Welcome back to another episode of Finally Motivated. I am joined by a very special guest. He is an author. We met at an event, and once we started talking, the conversation just couldn't end. And I said, you know what? Let's save this for the podcast. He's a father. He is an artist, and he looks for ways to express his art in ways that can provide value to people. So without further ado, please help me welcome Jonathan Marshall.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, brother. I'm excited for this, man. It was funny, that conversation that we had. It just flowed, just so easily.
Yeah.
And we almost didn't like. I saw your wife in the back, like, come on, man.
Yeah, we
gotta hurry up, man. So it was good having that conversation. So I'm appreciated we can finish this. So,
yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. We can absolutely continue it and just see. I'm very curious about just who you are, and I think maybe one of the reasons why we flow so well is we're both artists in different ways, and in similar ways.
Yeah. Come to find out, from the conversation earlier, a lot of ways that we're very similar.
Yeah.
Both family men, both, fathers, husbands, wives, So it's dope to see other creatives. And I know a lot of times what happens with us as creatives, we get so bogged down on the work we're doing, the things we're doing. We forget to look out and actually see, like, oh, there's other people who actually do what I do.
Yeah. I think that goes back to how lonely it can be as an entrepreneur. Sometimes it's hard to feel understood.
Yeah.
Like you're searching for people who get you.
Yeah.
And that was me. I was searching for people who get me, but I didn't find that many. And so that discouraged me from sharing some of what I'm going through.
Yeah. I think it was the combination. Isolation happened from that piece. It also happened because as a creative, you have a vision, and not everybody's going to see what you see. And that's the hard part, is like trying to tell somebody, hey, this is what I see. And they're like, well, I don't see it that way, or I don't see it. And having people buy into what your vision is difficult, because once again, it's yours.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part of anything. Any business you're owning, anything that you're doing, even like relationships, right, is the buy-in factor. Like, how do I make somebody buy into what I'm doing? Yeah. And I think the biggest part about buying is also just realizing like how important you think something actually is. Yeah. And how much you actually dive into it.
You got to believe it.
Yeah.
You got to believe it more than anybody else does.
Yeah.
They'll feel it. You don't even.
Yeah. And the thing about it is people will see it in you, right? They'll know, like, all right, this person actually believes in what they're saying. They believe in what they're selling, right? As Robert Cassidy said, that the most important thing I want to do is, in a rhyme, he was saying in a song, right? He says, sell salt to a slug, right? And that's what we're doing. It's like, I'm a hustler. Yeah. So that's the reality of what we're doing, is as entrepreneurs, we're trying to sell salt to a slug. It may not be a slug literally, like people still want products, but it's like, how do you make somebody buy into actually something that you're really offering? How do you make them feel that it's important, it's about them, or that they want to, invest in this thing? They may not see it as an investment. They may just see it as a purchase, but not knowing and understanding that a purchase in any form or fashion is an investment. Yeah. Even if it's a cheesesteak, like you're investing in a good cheesesteak. So,
what's funny about that? Like in talking more about being able to sell salt to a slug. I've always been in sales when I think about it. Yeah. I think all of us are. You're selling yourself. Yeah. You're going to an interview, you're selling your services so you can get hired.
Yes, sir.
Right? We're all salesmen. Some of us are just better at it than others. And I remember thinking, I don't want to sell any products, like any person's products.
Any person's products.
Yeah. And it was just very hard for me because I was so hard on myself with my level of integrity and how much pressure I put on my reputation.
Yeah.
And I just always felt to myself, I just always felt that if I do sell something, it either has to be something that is something that I create or something that I genuinely feel like is providing value. And the best way for me to understand if it's providing value is for me to see it and do it and feel it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I felt like, well, I don't like if I do an affiliate link or something like that, it's because I used it.
Yeah.
If I'm selling something to you, it's because I went through that. So the reason why I say that is a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we become the solution that we needed.
Yeah. It comes to a trust factor. So prior to working at a university, I was a social worker for many years. Right. One of the hardest things for when I first started, it was this thing called Hi-Fi, which was my goal was to help families to become self-sufficient. And what I would do is my goal was to come into the family's home. I would be introduced by a young man or a young woman, come into their home and to build a relationship. And the biggest thing about selling Hi-Fi was to not sell Hi-Fi. I was selling a relationship of trust first.
Yeah.
And from that trust relationship, families were willing to work with me because they understood. They were willing to buy into a process because they bought into who we were as the people who were working with them.
Yeah.
And it helped them to become self-sufficient because they had a lot of times, whether social working agencies or whatever it may be, they had issues when they came into their home and that trust relationship was broken.
Yeah.
So my goal was, like I said, just to come into the home, build a trusting relationship, get to know the family, build a relationship with them, and then help them to meet their next milestone, meet their next goals. But that is funny how in doing that and helping families to become self-sufficient, that actually changed the way I thought about life in general. Because I realized within Hi-Fi, my goal was to, like I said, to do that piece. But you had to do this thing that's called a strengths need assessment. And in order to help families be successful, you had to find out what their needs were, right? But also help them figure out what their strengths were. A lot of times our barriers to what we need to get met sometimes could be met by somebody's strength that we don't know is there and available. In order to do that, I had to find out more about my strengths and my weaknesses.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we as human beings tend to dive into our weaknesses first.
Yeah.
Just human nature. But the program forced me to actually dive into what my strengths were. And once again, it's selling salt to a slug. Like, in order for me to sell something to somebody else, I had to fully believe into it.
Yeah.
So in order for me to sell Hi-Fi to these families that I was working with, I had to actually believe in this process.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, in order to believe in that process, I had to actually live it. So I had to actually sit down and look at my strengths, look at my weaknesses, look at the areas that I have need in and how my strengths can meet those needs, but also the areas that I don't have, how I can find others who can help meet those needs.
Yeah.
And it made me understand that the importance of knowing oneself, like continually knowing oneself, but also continually wanting to know the people around you, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their abilities, because they can be beneficial for you, but they can also be beneficial for others, right? The simple fact that you have this business here, getting to know you more, understanding that you have these strengths here. Well, I'll be in random areas or random situations, and somebody may say something. I'll say, "Oh, you know what? I'm introducing my homie P." So
I appreciate you.
Yeah, but like that's the thing about it. That's what we're supposed to do. In my mind is, if people have something that's worthy and worth it, then why not
connect? Yeah.
Why not? So that's what I've been learning to do in life, is learning to connect. So the business piece is just an aspect of being able to do that, but learning to connect people to the things that they need.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is we all need something. How can we meet people where they can meet those needs?
Yeah.
So that's why the social work piece kind of helped into transforming the way I think and view life, how I view people, how I view so many different things, and how I translate that and took that into the business world and how I'm doing, even with authorship. I'm a children's author, but as I write the stories, I think about what are the needs that are being fulfilled as I'm writing the story. But even then, as I became an author, I realized like there are other authors who are doing what I'm doing. A lot of times, they may not have the resources or the relationships or whatever the case may be that I may have. Why not be able to each one teach one, share something. So that, like I said, that process really helped to shape the way I view myself, but also how I can view others and helping them to get where they need to be or want to be. So,
yeah. I like that you've been able to leverage your strengths and experiences to confidently walk in your purpose in so many different ways.
Yeah.
That's actually a big motivation for the assessment, the personality assessment that we did.
That was pretty cool.
And well, thank you. And your assessment, it's your result. It says that you are a change maker predominantly.
Yeah.
And you're probably one of the strongest change makers that's taken the assessment so far.
Cool.
And what that means is you are motivated by making impact in one way or another. It's perhaps you've experienced a situation or situations where there's preventable harm or injustice, and you can't ignore it. Some people can ignore it. They see it, I'll live, but if it touches you in a way, you would want to be someone that can create a positive impact to change the trajectory of something. So you would see someone like a Martin Luther King. He would be a change maker, or someone that, like, even if it's not at that level, but just someone that would want to start a nonprofit and make a difference.
That's funny because I've worked for many years for nonprofits, and I think my view of being a change maker was more so, it really came down to once I started looking at myself. It was maybe when I, like, around my 30s, my mid-30s. I was wondering, like, how did I get here in life? Right? I was happy, content, no issues.
Yeah.
I was wondering how I got here in life, because academically, I look back, I was like, I was a wreck. Also, like, just the simple fact of making it through school, and just academically, just socially. I look back at my life and I saw the people who saw me and saw potential. And I was like, I made it here not because of just who I am and my gifts and abilities.
Your own merit.
Yeah, not just because of my own merit, but I'm here because of the people who saw the potential in me and didn't give up.
Yeah.
I need to continue to do the same, to constantly see the potential in someone or a situation and move forward with that. So as I started to understand it in my mid-30s, I started diving into it more. And not just thinking about it like, a lot of times when we think like causing change, I think about like, you think about that big social change. But this is a crazy story. I was in the bathroom one day, to be honest. I was, you're sitting, you're doing what you do.
We all human.
Yeah, we all human. But as I was, sitting there doing, water was dripping in the sink. My sink was a little clogged, I ain't no judge, right? So as I'm watching the sink, just water drop, right? Constantly drop. I'm looking at the ripple effects of the water and realizing that I am water. And as I drop, I cause a ripple effect. And everybody has potential to be a droplet of water and cause a ripple effect. And the thing about it is sometimes you don't see your ripple, but you just have to know, you just got to be the drop. A droplet of water is not trying to cause a ripple effect. It's just acting as a drop of water. Yeah. So I had to view life in that same way of like being intentional about just being a drop of water. Whatever ripple effect may be, it just is. But just being intentional about being that. So when there's something that, I see as important, or something that I view as important, or that's as important to other people, I just, be a drop of water. Whatever change may come from that is awesome change. Yeah. And a lot of times, like I said, we won't see those ripple effects. When I was doing the social work aspect, I remember I would invest in a lot of the youth. And I was like, I'm probably never going to see this come to fruition. Yeah. And then, I'm older now, right? 10 years later, and I get to talk to a lot of the youth that I invested, in droplets of water, and I get to see where they are in life.
That mattered,
right? You have to think about the importance of continuing to be a droplet of water and realizing how important you are as an individual, even though you may not see it. Yeah. Because you never know 10 years down the line how that may, how you may see it, you may never see it, but that doesn't stop you from being able to, be that droplet of water. So,
what kind of impact is important to you? And I'll rephrase it in a way where it makes sense with this. What pond do you want to be a drop in?
I would say individual impact is important to me. Just in the sense of, the coolest thing for me is when I actually can see somebody actually see the potential in themselves. Then I'm good.
Oh man,
I'm good there.
That's such a good feeling.
It's a good feeling because a lot of people have so much in them, and for whatever it may be, it could be trauma, it could be, doubt, it could be whatever it may be. They just start to question their potential, or they don't even know because sometimes they've never been told to think strength based, or never been told to, see the world in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I act my full time position. I act as an academic advisor and a program director for education program. Right.
Yeah.
So my job is to help teachers become teachers. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of it, a lot of times our students are going through life. Right. They're in school, but I'm dealing with adult students. Right. So they're in school, but they also have children. They also have spouses. They have life responsibilities.
Yeah, just juggling a lot.
Right. A lot of times my conversations with them are just literally like, so what is your goal? What is your why?
Oh, this sounds like my job.
Yeah. What is your goal? What is your why? How can I help you get there? Just that aspect of helping people see their potential, seeing the things that's in them that they sometimes doubt, sometimes question, or sometimes don't even know, or just never had that conversation with anybody about it. So
I love that. So I view myself as sort of a guidance counselor for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that's because I needed one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many solid systems in every educational institution that you go to where as long as it's an institution that provides you with a box that you have to fit in, they have guidance counselors to recommend where you fit in.
Yeah.
And when you step out of that and you just start imagining and thinking, what can I do to create something new into the world? Now you're in the Wild West.
Yeah.
And you just have influences saying, do this, you got this side hustle, there's so many opportunities. And it's something that I struggled with. So I created the solution that I needed. Right.
There you go.
But it's because there was a need that I felt was missing, and while I was struggling with it, it reduced my confidence a bit. So seeing you here now as someone that's providing so much value to people that you know and people that you don't even know, because you're just causing a ripple effect with the product that you've with the products you're creating. Were you always this confident author?
As an author, yes.
Okay.
But was I always as confident? No.
Confident entrepreneur?
No. When I first started doing photography was the thing. I'm also photographers, right? So photography was the thing that helped me to actually be a confident author, because I had to be a doubtful photographer. It helped me to see the business side of things, helped to see the why am I doing this, right? Many days I question why am I still taking pictures? All those things that come with that aspect. But what happened in it was people actually giving me feedback, not on the pictures. The pictures are cool. They always give you feedback on those. But they give me feedback on the experience. And I realized like how we make people feel is important. The experience that they have. All those things were important, which helped to build my confidence, because it made me realize that I as a person is the thing that they're invested in. They can invest in hundreds of photographers all around, but by the time they sit and meet with me, they're invested in me as a person because they believe that I can bring them an experience. And I still think it's the same way with authorship, right? Is when you get invited to a school, you get invited to an event, or things like that. They believe in the books that I have, of course, because they've already seen the books, but they want to know who the person is behind these stories. They want to know, why are you writing? Why do you continue to do this? And they become invested in that person. And like I said, I became confident in that aspect of being knowing who I am, because of knowing what I wasn't in a lot of other areas. Older now, I'm like in my 40s now, so I got a chance to experience a lot of, self-doubt, questioning, wondering, to the point where, like, between that and beyond, so a lot of prayer, staying guided with other people, helping me to, and staying grounded too, like trying to be, continue to be humble. And like I said, think about the idea of helping to meet people's needs, but also them helping them meet people's needs and meet their own needs too. So
you've been exploring and discovering yourself. There are a lot of people, they're in their 70s, 80s, and they still don't know, or they still haven't gained the confidence to try things. Whether their programming basically prevented that. It's not that hard, really, to get caught into thinking that you can't be something else and you can't do something else, because that's just how it is. So I'm proud of you for believing in yourself to at least try some things. What made you look past some of the fears that maybe you had, or the people around you had, and you still tried it anyway?
So this is it may sound strange, but I'm connected and disconnected at the same time. To a lot of so. My mom used to always tell me something when I was young. She said, "You are what you eat," right? So I loved hamburgers when I was young. So hamburger helper, that was me. So, but I took that same mindset with how I move through life, right? People I spend time with, the things that I'm consumed with, and all those things are important to me. Whenever I wanted to learn something more, I just spent the time around people who did what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a photographer. I tried to invest and dive into. I tried to meet every photographer in Philly who's doing anything and send emails. And if they rejected me, okay, well, I'm heartbroken. I'll try to move on. But I try to do those things. I think the thing is, too, it's in my opinion, for me, this was for me, I had to deal with the reality that there will be rejection.
Yeah.
And I think that's tough for a lot of people, is the idea of rejection. Because most people, when they think about rejection, they think this is it.
Yeah.
Like,
I got to stop.
Yeah, like they think, all right, if I'm trying to, for instance, there's a lot of authors who I've talked to who've written to, have their books published traditionally, and because they weren't published traditionally, they just stopped because they took what that person said, that traditional publisher, and said, well, they don't want my work, nobody wants my work, and they forgot why they were writing. Being able to deal with the aspect of rejection was a big piece, but also trust in the reality that I have something that somebody wants was beneficial too. So, ask yourself, why do you do what you do, right?
Yeah.
You believe, one, you believe in what you do.
Yeah.
Two, you have people in your corner who, hoping you have people in your corner who actually support what you do and believe in the mission. Another big piece for me too is, be real, my wife was a very important, right? If I was trying to do all this and then I'd have my wife in my corner, that'd have been that'd been tough, right?
Yeah.
So I have a very patient and understanding wife who doesn't have, a brain who's always running around, So when my mind is always racing, she's like, slow down, write it down, think about it, let's talk about it, let's move from there.
Shout out to Mrs. Marshall.
Yeah, shout out to Ms. Marshall. Yeah. So, but that's important. Is for entrepreneurs, a lot of times we're very forward thinking, and at the same time, sometimes we need to be grounded.
Yeah,
and that's hard. Because it's like, well, my mind is telling me this.
Yeah.
I already see this. I'm going to go for that right now. And I think another thing, too, is realizing sometimes that in the midst of vision, not thinking that just because it's not right now, it won't happen. Yeah. And that's tough for a visionary, because a lot of times when we're thinking about it, we think about it like in the right now. And not realizing that, it could sometimes take people a long period of time. But are you willing? Are you willing to stick it out? Are you willing to work through it too? So
I think it's a very delicate balance of maintaining your childlike imagination while also staying grounded in reality. Yeah. Because you have to first imagine a new reality and then push it into a shared reality that accepts it. You end up going through a lot of unacceptance. Yeah. Before you can actually create that vision. Most businesses don't last 5 years for various reasons. And it's not just because of money. Yeah. Like if we're motivated enough and you continue hammering away at this thing that you believe in, someone's going to say, you know what, maybe there's something to this. And maintaining that childlike imagination is, it can be very difficult. Do you feel like you've always been entrepreneurial minded?
No. To be honest, if I'm being honest, I don't even like the business aspect of it all. I like I said, I like to engage and interact. The business aspect is just the means of being able to do it. So when I started doing photography, for instance, I did not want to become a business. But I got into a position where, hey, in order to shoot here, you have to have a business license, you have to have insurance and all those things. So it was like, it got put in a position where I had to become a business. But it was more so the gifts and the skills and the abilities. Well, the business is a means in order to utilize my gifts, skills, and abilities. I don't know how much you love the business aspect of things. You may just love to be able to coach and walk people through life. And it just happens to be a business aspect that comes with it.
I would do it for free. Yeah. I just can't.
You just can't, right?
You know what I mean? So that actually aligns and makes a lot of sense with your personality type as well. Because at the forefront, you're a change maker. You're driven by impact. Your second highest personality type is an artist.
Yeah.
And with an artist, you're motivated by captivating emotion and creating something that expresses an emotion, and externally you're motivated by being able to see other people appreciate and experience the emotion that you've been able to put within this canvas. And that canvas can be a music track, it could be a book, it could be artwork, whatever it may be. You're not motivated by being able to sell something to someone that to someone that doesn't want that emotion. You want them to just have the emotion. And that is, look, when I was doing research on these personality types, it made so much sense why so many artists struggle. Like when people say the struggling artist, the starving artist, it's because we're not, as artists, we want to create and capture and package emotions. And when you start to add strategy and tactics and techniques into the mix, it takes away from the emotion, the raw emotion. It's like when you start doing music or whatever it may be, and then someone starts to add the business element to it, you almost want to keep it as separate as possible, because that financial pressure and the different expectations will alter.
Even still to the dates with authorship too. The hardest part about like the business aspect for me was always that aspect. I remember this has nothing to do with me, but when I went down to, my wife and I, we took her down there to Louisiana for her birthday. We hung out down the bayou, and we went to this marketplace. In the marketplace, we got a chance to see this, so many just amazing artists who had amazing artwork. And I realized, like, I have this thing about awe, right? Like, awesome, like this awe, right? So I'm looking at these people's work in awe. Like, this is amazing. This is awesome. I'm going to like the district and looking at all this artwork, and I watch people walk in and walk out. And I'm saying, like, they've lost their awe. Like, a lot of people have lost awe in certain things. Like, and I had to realize, like, as an artist, like, not everybody's going to have the same awe as I have in the work that I'm creating. And that's the tough part, is because I have awe in this that I'm creating and I'm trying to sell it to you. That's where the starving artist comes. Like, it becomes difficult for so many artists. It's like, this is art to me. And I have to sell it because I have to survive, but it's still art to me. And you don't see it like I see it. And some people, every once in a while, you have somebody who may see it a similar way. Even like, just watching people, on the boardwalk who do, to do cartoons and all that. Like, that's art. Like, the simple fact that this human being can, see two people and make a fun caricature, but at the same time, there's still a gift and an ability that they had to utilize and make it a way of income. And what ends up happening with that is you can lose the love for your art
very easily.
I remember losing my third year of shooting as a business. I remember I had to check myself because I was like, I'm not enjoying it anymore because I'm thinking about the business aspect of things. And I said, I didn't get into I started photography because my son was being born. I didn't start it because I was having a business. I started because I wasn't doing music anymore. And I picked up a camera and I said, I want to take pictures of my son. I'm about to have a kid. I'm enjoying it. And I started posting it. People started asking it. It snowballed into a business. And then when it snowballed into a business, it became something that I wasn't ready for at the time.
The motivation changed.
Yeah, the motivation changed. Like, oh, now I have to actually do this. I'm thinking about how many weddings do I have to do in a year in order to be, to make this quota and all that. And while I'm on a wedding day, I'm enjoying it. But then in the midst of in between weddings, I wasn't enjoying it because I wasn't doing it for those. When I'm editing photos, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. When I'm not editing photos, I'm thinking about the business aspect. I wasn't having fun. So I had to sit down and actually say, hey, my wife said, I'll talk to people for you. I was like, that's fine. Like, that's cool because I need to remember my why. Like, I started doing photos and started diving into weddings because I remembered I enjoyed seeing the moments, right? The moments in between the moments at weddings. And when I was thinking about authorship, I had to do the same thing as remember my why. Like, I enjoy watching little ones. I remember I did a school visit. I was telling somebody before, I did a school visit, and after the school visit was done, after my, class visit was done, I had a little kid come over to me and say, I love you, Mr. Marshall. Thank you. That is my why. So anytime I try to forget those, I might forget those things, is bring it back to those whys, those moments, because you can get caught up in trying to do the business. I'm not saying you shouldn't, But so another reason why like a lot of businesses fail is because they get caught up in the business and forgetting why they created this business in the first place.
And it's very difficult not to get caught up in the business because it's a business.
It's a business.
I don't know if you got a chance to look into the book yet.
No, I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. Yeah.
But one of the things that it touches on, because after taking the assessment, now you can figure out more about yourself and like how to maximize your strengths, but also how to leverage the strengths of others. Like how your wife said, I'll talk to those people for you. It helps keep the motivation pure because you're able to continue to be motivated by the thing that touches you the strongest. In a way, when I speak with other artists, one of the things that I talk about is there's something that I call impression management.
Okay.
So the way that I look at life in a way is we're always digesting something.
Yeah.
And what we digest is the things that are in our environment, not just the things that we eat. Because it's just the same way the terminology when you watch an ad. When you watch an ad, they call it an impression. When you see a view on an Instagram post, they're counting impressions. So we're constantly getting impressions of things that we want and things that we don't want. And there are ways for you to manage the kinds of impressions that you digest because it will come back out in a way. It will affect your emotions. All of that. And so when you think about when you think about the things that you can produce to create an impression, you may actually be starving someone that is yearning for the value that you want to create because we're not that unique.
Nah.
Right? I can find so many similarities with you, right? That it's like, who am I?
What are you? Twinning right there, twinning.
Right?
I don't have any hair though, but we're twinning now.
It's all good because at the core, we're not that different. We just have different circumstances and programming. And so when you think about something that matters to you, and it created a strong impression on you, it's not that it's not useful to someone, it's that you haven't found the people that want it, that are starving for it. And sometimes it takes a step back that's required so that you can recognize who you need to leverage and what systems you need to leverage and strategies you need to leverage so that you can reach the people that are starving for it, so that in that way it prevents you from starving as an artist.
There you go.
No one's starving at that point.
No one's starving. So that's what was like, and this the aspect of, like I said, my mom said, you are what you eat. It's that constantly consuming as much as you can. I remember one time I actually just went to a buffet and I got the things that I know I wanted, right? Not everything. I got the things that I know I wanted. And I was satisfied with just those things. Now, why am I just spending all this money for a buffet when I know the things that I want at the buffet? I'll just get those specific things and I won't go any, get any more. So the importance of knowing those things that are things that are important for you. And then being able to, like you said, the most important thing is being able to parse it out, right? Seeing people's strengths, weaknesses, but also their needs. And a lot of times businesses can get lost in another thing too, is disconnect with that. You have a product, but then you're disconnected from the people who the product is for. And that's when you lose people, is when you're disconnected to the people. Customer service is one of the most important things that I've always, learned since I was a young man. I used to, first job I was working in retail. I worked from, Filing's Basement to Modell's, all those. And you always hear the customers first. The customer's right. But they're not always right. They're not always first, but they're always important.
That's a good one.
So, just helping them to realize, like, at the end of the day, this customer, this person, the person you're selling a product to or offering a product to is important. They're a human being that has, strengths, needs, and desires. And how are you helping them meet to those different areas? And that's by staying connected to them, right? A lot of times, as an author, going to like book events is important to me, not because I'm trying to sell books, but because I'm just trying to connect with human beings. A lot of times, like, this is how our simple conversation started, right? That's important to me. Like, I say this book is for dads, then I actually want to connect with dads who are going to be reading to their children and say, hey, like, I wrote this for you. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about me in that moment, but I was thinking about you when I wrote this. So, I hope this encourages you. That's important, and keeping that as a grounding factor as you move forward in business is important. And a lot of times, people, whatever main reason, the businesses, come and go for whatever it may be. But Not saying that's always the reason why, but a lot of times when people, get lost, they get disconnected, they get appear, they start thinking about just the finances alone, and forget about the foundation. So
So you've been an artist since when?
I would say I've always been an artist since I was young. I've always been in the arts. As far as like as the financial artist?
No, just you as a person.
Oh.
When's the earliest that you can remember that you had a passion to create?
I was in poetry contests in the 3rd grade. I was in art school. So yeah, I would say maybe like, as far as I can remember, 8 or 9. I've always been into the arts in some form or fashion. It's funny because arts, I just see as the arts. So I don't say like I was this and I was this. I was just like an artist. Whether it be, using pastels to, or molding clay to, like I said, writing poetry to doing music, like just always had the creative mind. Just always have it, just still have it. I think the tough thing is like trying to parse it out and make sure that I'm focusing this creative moment and this creative aspect of this moment. So
what does it feel like when you create something?
It's cool, and to be honest, it's cool and isolating a lot of times. It's cool because I'm like, yo, look what I created, like. But then it's isolating because you want to tell somebody else about it, and they're like, oh.
And someone that gets it.
Yeah. And you're like, ah. I wrote a story maybe like a month ago, and sometimes they just come to me. So like it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I had this idea, and I started typing on my phone. I write my stories on my phone a lot of times. So started, creating an idea on my phone. I write my stories backwards a lot of times. I write how I wanted to end it, and I work my way backwards, and then I fill in the stories in. I write the story. And I'm like, hey, babe, look, I just wrote a story. Like, I'm excited about the story. She's like, what? It's 1 in the morning, man. Like, why are you talking to me? So I said, all right, it's cool. I understand. It's 1 in the morning. You're right. So next morning, we wake up. It's not 1 in the morning now. What you think about the story? It's like, it's nice. I'm like,
you didn't get the reaction you was hoping for.
Yeah. I was like, that's not the same reaction I wanted. I had to like realize that aspect of it all. Is like, as a creative, I'm not always going. I have a different mind of how I view my creation.
And also, it's not that there's anything wrong with someone that doesn't get it. It's just that we as artists, we have to develop a sort of resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
Because it's tough. I've dealt with that too. Like, man, I remember, like, I remember I was letting my wife hear this song I made back in like high school. Like, I know how like it could be better, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this ain't.
But you got to see what I'm going with.
Exactly. do you feel what I was feeling though? And she was like.
She's like,
and it hurt me, and I had to realize that I'm not doing it for anyone really other than myself. And I'm looking for people who are like me to also appreciate the thing that I was able to recognize, because it all goes back to the idea that we're not that much different in terms of like the person that I am, another artist and visionary, like those types of personality types, they may also appreciate it the same way that I am. And so I have to hold on to like I got to protect my heart a little
right
bit.
now, because I'm crying in my tears in my heart right now.
Until I could carry this artwork to the people that want it.
Yeah. So I think that's a thing with the authors too, is just that reality of like, I have this story, and I won't say that I don't write for other people in mind. I do write for them in mind, but I write with my personality being the thing that I'm like, I still want to make sure that I maintain my personality through all my stories. That you're going to see, like, I want people to be able to understand, like, the stories for instance, I wrote a book about death, right? So mother passed a few years ago. And no, that's cool. It was a period of time so it actually sparked a story. And I was thinking about how I felt in that moment. And I was writing that story therapeutic for me, right? But in the midst of writing that story therapeutically for me, I started to remember, like, well, there are other children going through the grieving process as well. Because I started thinking about my own children, how they were dealing with the loss of their grandmother, and how important it would be to create a story that they could understand themselves, but also other children dealing with grief could understand, walking through that hard period of time of realizing like that somebody that they know and love is no longer physically here with them anymore. How did they process those emotions?
Yeah.
Just that creative aspect. Like I said, I wrote it for me in mind and viewed my personality, and I thought about my family.
Yeah.
That's what allows me too, is my family allows me to see the world from their perspective. So as I create, I think about myself, but I think about my family as well.
Yeah.
So, in part, my boys are older now. My daughter is, she's 3, so she's still young, but a lot of my stories are about them when they were younger, or just conversations that we may have had and all, but they help my creative aspect, because I'm thinking about them in those moments when I was reading stories with them at night, or how would a dad want to how to read to their story their kids. Well, when I was reading to my son, I thought about this, and I thought about this, and this was funny, and this is funny. Let me share those moments with somebody else.
Yeah, at some point you need a connection from yourself and your heart to the hearts of others. And that's something that some entrepreneurs have a lot of difficulty with, because they may be only driven by ego and just start thinking, you know what? They stop it at just, I want to do this for me. But then that may not scale the way that you want it to. That may not sell the thing that you want, because at some point you have to discover, how can they connect to other people to solve a problem? But it's still tough.
Yeah.
Because at some point you just want to do things and gain validation. And I think most of entrepreneurship is you're looking for validation, and you're also looking for connection and belonging, because it starts off as a lonely journey.
Yeah.
When you come up with an idea, you don't come up with the same idea at the same time with other people, and they already know your idea.
Yeah.
For a period of time, you're lonely in that idea.
Yeah.
You're isolated. And in order for you to combat that isolation, you're now looking for validation. What do you think? Do you see what I see? Do you feel what I feel?
And when you don't get it, it's hard.
And then after you get through that, you look for the belonging. Let me find someone else that gets it.
Yeah.
And then when after going through the belonging, now you have to search for connection. Okay, so I feel like I belong. This is my people right here. But now I need to connect it with an experience that you've experienced. So death is something that is universal. We're all going to go through it. And at some point in our lives, we're going to experience the death of a loved one. And you being able to connect, you validated it, because you know that this is something that matters. And you know that you're not alone in it. You belong, because everyone goes through this.
With it, yeah.
And then being able to connect it with someone and their experiences, I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship.
It is. I think that the tough part about it is still actually believing in it enough to follow through, right?
Yeah.
Like when I created that story, and released it and all, it was something that I believed it was important, but I didn't actually, even still in that sense, I was like, I don't know who's going to affect. So I don't know. It was like it was something that I felt was important. I just put it out there. It did really well, and that was awesome. Not because it did really well, because I know that I'm not the only one who dealt with that experience.
Man, I was reading one of your books to my son last night, right? I think it was called I'll Be There.
I'll be right there.
I'll be right there. Oh, man. So for those who haven't read it, it's about a father who basically tells their son, you call me anywhere, anytime, I'll be right there.
Got your back.
Right? You matter to me. I got you, like a superhero. Right? And I'm reading this. I'm thinking to myself, man, what if I'm on a plane one day and my son calls me and says, I'll be right there.
I got you. I got you.
I don't know if I could always be there, but the essence of what you were expressing, I get it. You want the child to feel like they are not alone. They matter. And when they feel insecure, they know that there's someone that has their back.
Yeah.
And that felt very universal to me, because at the end of the day, I want to provide those emotions for my son.
And that was so I wrote it twofold. I wrote it for the child and the thinking that, I can trust in this person. Once again, it goes back to the social work piece, right? So a lot of the youth I work with dealt with trauma. And the biggest piece with dealing with trauma is safety and security, right? That's one of the biggest pieces. So I was thinking about that aspect of wanting children to feel that they are important and that somebody's going to be there for them when they need it. That was one fold. The second fold was actually for fathers. As a father, I didn't grow up with my father. So it was important for me to remind myself as a dad of the responsibility that I have. So as dads, it was important for me. Like I was thinking as I'm writing this story, I want dads to say this to their children, but I actually want them to know their responsibility and weight that they have to their children, to be there for them when they need it. It's cool that, you know, a child knows that, but it's even cooler to me when a dad understands that. So that was like, it was a twofold meaning to when I wrote that book. It was like,
there's so much meaning.
Yeah, it was important to me because, like I said, I didn't grow up with my dad, and I wanted that reminder, even for myself, to say, hey, like there's days when you just feel like I don't want to, and you have a responsibility to something greater than how you feel in the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's a little bit of the change maker in you as well.
Yeah.
Because as a change maker, you're motivated to reduce or eliminate a pain that you believe is preventable in a way. And even if someone doesn't see their father or isn't around or whatever it may be, maybe you can help create an emotion that makes them feel secure and not alone and that they matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's very beautiful. So you were talking to the father. You're a father. You're also speaking to the child. Can you speak a little bit about why that's important for a child to feel those emotions that you wanted to create?
I'll say in every book, my goal is a lot of times to speak to children's emotions: joy, sadness, fear, concern, doubt. Like a lot of the stories, the goal is to touch that area, right? Yeah. To really reach them. I first started out as a teacher, so I was a teacher at one point in time too.
Okay.
So in a classroom in social work, you got a chance to see a lot of emotions that children go through, and a lot of times we as adults were too busy to help them process a lot of those emotions. Yeah. In our society, we have so many things that keep us busy. Keep us doing things. But
the stuff is still
But the stuff is still there, right? So I wanted to kind of create stories where children can see that imagination is still okay. That crying and the loss of someone is still okay. It's okay to be human. And I wanted parents, as they read those stories to their children, to realize like these are emotions your child is going through. Let your child, imagine. Let your child, be sad, but be with them in those moments. Yeah. So that in creating the stories, literacy is one piece, but the real goal behind it was to create family moments that people could actually sit down and say, these stories aren't long. They're like, I could read this in 5 minutes. In the midst of my busy life, I could take 5 minutes out of my time to read the story with my child. They're written in rhyme form so that children can actually remember. It's easier for us to remember things in rhyme form.
That might also be the rapper in you.
Yeah, it's the rapper in me, right? So I realized
it's just a different canvas.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. It was music. I realized it was easy for me to learn lyrics because they were,
there's a pattern.
There's a pattern to it, right? So create patterns and stories to help children remember these things, help families to remember these things, help with literacy, but also help with building family dynamics. So those emotions are important for children to have. Like, they're human, right? A lot of times we get frustrated when all those things where our kids are, they may be misbehaving or whatever it may be, but they're children. They're still trying to understand the world that they live in.
The
world is big. The world is big for them, right? You have a longer time to be an adult than you do have to be a child. So as they're children, they're going to be absorbing as much as they can. So what responsibility do we have to that as adults? As the adults in their lives, as the adults that we interact with, we have a big responsibility. And I think what happens is we live in a day and age where people feel like it's not my responsibility.
They're too busy.
Too busy. Not even just parents. I'm just talking about, like, if you see something going on the street and you're like, well, that doesn't concern me. You're not your responsibility ends up being, once again, it comes down to the trickle effect, right?
Yeah.
If you're not saying something to that maybe could affect that child in a positive way, 5 years down the line, where is that child? Where could they have been if you had just taken the moment to say something important to them, tell them that they matter, that you care about them?
Yeah.
My friend Isan, he has an organization called My Brother's Keepers. Within the organization, they had a summer camp last summer, which was awesome. They had a golf program and they had a chess club. And within that program, they were constantly reminding the young people, like, that you're important and you matter. My children were part of that. So just cool to see them as part of that. But even just realizing, like, hey, the young people that he had in his program, saying that mantra, you matter, right? Calling them kings and queens. Who knows where that will have them 5 years from now, right? Yeah. The fact that you had them in your camp in the summer, but they could have been doing anything or not doing, or been something else. Who knows where that 5 years from now, where that could have been. So it's just the intentionality of realizing the importance of people. So
I think a lot of people forget that. How important do you think empathy is in business?
Very, very. Once again, like I said, I work at a university as an advisor. So I think about that as customer service, right? The business, quote unquote, is Eastern University. But just that aspect of when I interact with students, even having empathy with them, I'm not just talking to them about their classes often, right? Yeah. They're calling me about their class, but next thing you know, I'm having a conversation with them about life. Being able to talk and walk them through it a lot of times. Sometimes helping to, once again, that's cool. Like the social work life actually trickles over into other stuff. So now I'm helping sometimes my students like plan to figure out life. Helping them plan to figure out life can help them figure out school. But having an empathy to sit down and just say, you know what? This was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation. I'm going to listen to you for these 30 minutes, let you talk. And I said, well, let's figure this out. I think about that in every aspect of life, not just in business, but it's important in business because that also brings people back to you. Because I think, once again, I talked about the photography piece. I don't know if I talked about it now, but just the experience that you give people. An experience that you give people can have people want to come back. So that's important with the business. Is like, as you're coaching people, you have given them an experience. You made them actually dive into who they are, to why they do what they do, and why they are important to the world at large. Yeah. And they're willing to tell somebody else, I had this awesome coach, like, you should talk to him. Once again, that builds, and it becomes to a point where you don't have to sell your product because your product is selling itself. So I think the empathy piece is important because once you're empathetic, it brings you down to a human level and makes people realize, like, the product that I'm getting it becomes a relational product in a sense too. So
yeah, there's often times where I may have a recommendation or an opinion and I hold it back because I don't want my ego and my thoughts to get in the way, because I like to be a mirror. And I've always been like that since I was very young. Elementary school, like, I think I found a lot of safety in being in other people's shoes. At some point, I thought it was a weakness because I didn't make much space for myself. Yeah. Everyone just told me their stuff, and I enjoyed it.
That was me.
Right?
That was me.
We're very similar.
And then being a problem solver in a sense too.
Yeah, like, I was a mediator. I get how you feel. I also get how you feel.
Yeah, yeah.
We can understand each other.
How can we meet there?
How can we? Yeah. I look at all of us here in this world right now as like a cohort. Right? Yeah, this is the cohort.
This is the cohort. Okay.
And we're different ages. When you're in high school, you have freshmen through senior. The freshmen might be the kids. Yeah. But we're all in this together. You might be a senior, but this is still the first time for all of us to have seen 2025.
Yeah.
Not one of us has seen it before. That's cool. Except for us right now. And so we like, I feel like we have to give not only ourselves grace, but also practice empathy with one another, because a rising tide. What's that phrase? Like,
I know. I forgot it was a rising. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know the phrase. But
so what I mean by it is, we're all in the same cohort together. What you do in this world can affect more than you think. And it very well can affect you in a way that you didn't expect. Yeah. So it's like it goes back to the golden rule. Treat others the way that you'd want to be treated.
And
help your classmates.
Yeah. So it's not a knock against social media. I love it. But I hate it at the same time because it isolates us.
Me too, man.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Yeah. I need it. Yeah. But if I'm being honest with myself, I don't really like it.
Yeah. that's something like, I'm like, I could use that jump, but I don't like using it. Yeah. So it's one of those things where I realize how much it isolates us, because it allows us to be less empathetic. Yeah. We can speak without having to worry about, a lot of times, how somebody else is taking it, how somebody else is feeling, because we're behind the screen, we don't see it.
Yeah.
So it allows a lot of times, if there is, a quote, you may just say something online. One of my favorite shows is Black Mirror.
Oh, I love that show.
Oh,
man, that thing is deep.
Black Mirror. So,
and it just feels like
it feels
so
real.
true. The trajectory.
It feels a little creepy.
Yeah.
A little creepy. One of my favorite episodes is I forgot the name of the episode, but there's one where they have the bees. You know what I'm talking about?
Not yet.
All right. So have you watched all the seasons?
I have, yeah.
All right.
But it's been a while since I've
All right. So it's an episode where people are just saying whatever they want to each other online. What happens is this like hacker who eventually goes around and starts like hacking into technology and offering to people who were saying what they wanted to online with like technology, pretty much. So like it would be it was I hate to spoiler alert, sorry, but it's a school teacher, and the school teacher is like a school teacher, regular school teacher, but online she's like, I hope this person dies, blah 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 blah, and it just showed like the reality of how technology allows us to say whatever we want, and not think about the person on the other line and how they're feeling and the consequences and things like that. So allows us to speak without abandon. Like there's no consequence to what we say. And because there's no consequence, there's no empathy there. Because we're not worried about how the other person is receiving or taking in what we say or do.
Social media has created this illusion of distance between us, and it makes the world seem much bigger. But when you start really looking at it as we're the same cohort, and you're really talking to your classmate, the next day, after you just said something, you're going to see them in the hallway. You're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But we don't have that because we don't see the people that we're talking to.
Yep. And that's why I say, so that empathy there for the human experience is less likely to happen because of that. It's opened up the world for everybody to be available. It's also isolated us so much because now we don't realize like what it is to interact with other human beings. I noticed it post-pandemic. I was like, once again, I worked in the adolescent mental health. I was an adolescent mental health social worker. So I told the world, I was talking to friends. I was like, you know what? So after we come out of lockdown, so people are going to forget how to people. They're like, what? I said, watch. And I remember I went to a Sixers game, maybe like 2 weeks after the world, like finally it opened up and everybody's masking and still distance and all that. And at the Sixers game, 5 minutes into like somebody right on the court, just did whatever. I was like, we're experiencing it. People have like been isolated for so long on the island, they have forgotten how to interact in places with people and things like that. And that's just the reality of what the pandemic was a visual representation, a real life representation of what social media is. Where we isolate ourselves, we're to ourselves, we're on devices, but when we get in front of each other, we forgot how to interact.
And I think when I started talking to you, I saw a real person.
Like,
oh man, we could talk. And we could be authentic.
It was a good conversation. Almost like felt bad. I was like, we could keep going. And but I think that's once again as two personalities who are very similar, who are very used to being able to have conversations with people and realize the importance of human connection. Where a lot of that can be lost within the disconnect of how social media is. I remember this story of a young man. Came out. He was a basketball star. Got murdered a couple months ago, actually. And what happened was he was a star basketball player, but he was also caught up in the life of crime and things like that. So he had made a diss song made a diss song and recorded the video talking about like hurting somebody or killing somebody, and then next day, gunned down. And there's this thing where like you didn't think that was going to be a consequence of what you said and did. And it's like this disconnect of thinking like that these things that I say and do have real life consequences. So,
man, it's not only a rough world out there, but there's also a lot of people that misunderstand each other and hurt each other. You know how people say hurt people hurt people? I really believe that because that's what you know. You only really do what you know. And I remember since I was young, I never wanted any praise outside of something that I know I did. with my merit. Like I earned it.
Yeah.
Right. And this is going to sound weird, but like whether it's, I don't have pride in anything other than what I've done. It's very weird. And the reason is because there's many times in life that I've been lucky. And for example, I was born in Haiti.
Okay.
I came here when I was 6, and I felt like, well, not felt, it wasn't because I did anything. It was luck. And I'm grateful for it, but I'm no different than all the other kids that are still in Haiti and not have the opportunities that I have.
Yeah.
So when I see that and I see myself, I try my best to practice gratitude, but also remember that I'm no different. I'm not really that special. I'm gonna do the best that I can with what I have, as everyone should. But I should practice empathy and not judge just because someone else has a different circumstance or a different situation, because that really could have been me.
Yeah.
With a different programming.
And not even just it could have been, but it still can.
Yeah.
Right? So as an author, right, and going to a lot of book stuff, as you're in your business, you may come across people who started the business and may have stopped, or started doing author and stopped, whatever the case may be. And I still have to ground my mind in that same mentality of that could be me, that could have been me, but I'm still I'm still here, and I'm still
you gotta have the gratitude.
So it's always like that. Yeah, it's funny because I actually have a song called "For Granted." It's actually it's talking about like making sure that I don't take the life that I have for granted. My wife is from Malawi, Africa. We talk about it often, like the reality and the randomness of us actually meeting. Like the fact that she's from Malawi, Africa, went to Alaska, to Washington State, came down to PA, and we just happened to meet in school. Like the odds of that happening was crazy. Yeah. We've been married for 18 years 18 years this year. I'm grateful for that. Like that's something that is amazing to me. Yeah. But the odds of that happening was like, wild. Why did it happen? Right? Yeah. I'm a man of faith, so I'll be honest about that. So I believe
be God who you are. Yeah,
God had his hands on that. So it was dope to see like that reality. But I started thinking about like I have friends who like wish that they could be married, or wish that they were in relationships, or wish they were still married, or whatever the case may be. And it just brings back to the gratitude. Like just be grateful for the things that you have. That a lot of people wish that they could have, past and present, and just being in that mindset of always being grateful for the things that the things that I have and the abilities that I have.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. Like what you have right now, I feel like sometimes the things that we want is actually not that far away, and the things that we fear the most may not be that far away. Yeah. You may think that you're so protected because you have this nice cushy job and title, and you may look down on someone who has nothing and no home, or far from where you think that you are. And you may be one decision away from being exactly where that person that you have pity on is.
Yep. I mean, you remember the whole Scrooge, Nightmare Before Christmas kind of thing. I'm like, you never know. And I always used to say, but for the grace of God, there go I. That's the term that she would use, and it's just me saying like that could be you. And my uncle has schizophrenia. We often talk about like just the reality of like it's a family thing, So blah 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 blah, and it was always the worry and the concern, but he's healthy and he's good. And like so, I had to think about like as I'm working in the field and seeing so many people deal with schizophrenia still, either they may not be here or they're struggling with it, and he's safe and healthy. And I always had to think, even be grateful about that simple fact of like. Even with his diagnosis, he's still safe and he's still healthy. Yeah, that's an order of gratitude. Like in the midst of that, still being grateful for that. My mother had taught me at a young age to be grateful for the things that that you do have, even for the things that you don't have. Yeah, because sometimes the things that you don't have can actually help to build your character as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. One of the things that I actually tell my clients sometimes is to respect their mortality. because that's something that has been very helpful for me throughout my journey. There was a time where I never had to think about the things that I ate, the things that I drank, and then one random day I had to go to the ER and my blood sugar was almost 1,000, could have had a coma.
Yeah.
And everything in my life changed after that because I now have to calculate every bit of carbs and inject insulin because I'm type 1 diabetic now, they said. And at first I said, why me? And then I thought, why not me? I'm really not that special. Because if it could happen to me, then, if it could happen to them, we always say them, you know what I mean? Like, if it could happen to them,
else could happen to you.
You are them to someone else.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's really no difference. And when you start respecting the fact that you are immortal and your health might not be the same tomorrow, your life might not be there tomorrow.
The same or there, yeah.
Yeah, and it really forces you to be grateful for the moment because we wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
Like for you to have a whole day today and then get $1 billion tomorrow, but you're dead and you can't use it.
Yeah.
Today is so valuable. So if you have a business, you have an idea, you do it.
You do it. My friend, he's actually a business owner too. What's up, Dave? His name is Psalms. Well, it used to be Psalms, but his name is David DCI, I guess. So it's funny. He was actually my audio engineer. So this is about like maybe going now. Think about it, like almost 20 years ago now.
Wow. When you get that connection with the musical connection, man, it's it didn't break.
It didn't break, nah. So still homies. But I'm gonna talk to him, man. But he said something to me that stuck with me. He said, time is the most important commodity you have. It's the one thing you spend you can't get back. So be mindful about how you spend your time and who you spend it with. And that's just something that I had to take with me throughout life, is realizing like our time is not guaranteed, right? One of the saddest things for me is knowing that there's so many things in people that they don't get out, whether it be stories, whether it be their gifts and abilities, whether it be businesses. Like, there's so many people sitting on stuff and they just don't. I can't tell you how many times people reach out to me and say, hey, John, I have the story idea, but I don't know what to do. I was like, how long were you saying? Like, oh, yeah, I had this story idea since like 2016 or 2004. I'm like, yo, let's get on this. Like, how can I help you?
Because they end up dying with it.
And there's so many, I forgot, I think I heard it as a quote, something like that, where it's like, there's so many rich people.
It's so valuable. And the graveyard is the most valuable place because there's so many ideas that never came to fruition. But they could have changed the world and they could have had that ripple effect.
Yeah. And I think another thing that we have to account for too, and once again, I'm grateful for this, is a lot of those people who have those gifts and abilities and things that they can add to the world don't have people, or don't even have the capacity themselves to get it out. Now, I had to realize too, and that's why I'm saying, like, whenever I can help somebody, I want to do it, because a lot of times people don't have that person in their corner to say, hey, I got your back. Whatever I can do to help you figure it out, I got you. Whatever I can do to help you push it forward, like however I can help you, any form of fashion. Same thing you. If there's anything I can do to help you, any form of fashion,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me know, because the reality of it is it's important. Yeah. When I was doing music, I think the thing that helped me realize this now was that I was doing a certain type of genre of hip hop, and then there was a spectrum of hip hop, and I had to realize like that there's a spectrum, that I'm not going to be everybody's favorite artist, but I'll be somebody's favorite artist. Yeah. But there's going to be somebody else who can fulfill that role. So everybody on the spectrum is important.
Yeah, you have a space.
So just realizing that, like, even with photography, like, I was never like, hey, I'm not going to let you shoot. No, like, if you want to learn, come with me. I will bring people with me, because the thing about it is, a space here for everybody. Continue moving forward, there's still a space here for everybody's gifts and abilities if they have people who are willing to help them too. Like I said, not everybody has that, so it becomes disheartening.
One of the best feelings that I get sometimes is watching someone have a breakthrough. And the way that looks like is, I looked at the world one way, and then from one conversation, I see it completely differently. Because what that does is it creates a whole new aspect of their potential, or what they believe can happen for them. And I feel like that is so valuable, because Some people don't know that they can do something because they haven't had the right conversations, and they haven't felt validated, and they haven't felt like the things that they have within them can be nurtured. So even if they wanted to, they don't even know where to start. And that's why I feel like all of us have our entrepreneurs just don't know it, or we have the potential to be, and we don't do it. And if you can create a certain perspective, if you can allow someone to have a certain perspective that changes that, you're still the same person. You still have the same experiences and past, but changing your perspective changes your entire trajectory. I think that is just one of the most beautiful things.
Yeah. So the cool thing about perspective is all about like how things are seen. And the thing about human beings, as much as we try to deny it, we want to be seen. And I think that's why a lot of people may struggle taking the next step, is because they've either never been seen and heard too. Yeah. But they've never been, seen as and heard as an encompassing piece, but they've never been seen, or the way that they've been seen, they're trying to reshape it and be something totally different other than themselves, because they're seeing something else. So I think another thing that stops people from moving forward with entrepreneurship is they see another entrepreneur and think, this is how I'm supposed to be. I don't fit that mold. I can't because they are this. And as the reality is, you're not supposed to be them. Don't emulate. Learn from, but don't emulate. One thing that was harder for me as a creative is making sure that my art is always my art. Like, I love hip hop, right? I love hip hop. So I was making sure that I'm not putting anybody else's words in my songs, right? So it's the same kind of mentality of making sure you stay true to yourself, but at the same time diving for what you believe is,
that part can be tough sometimes, because we are so wired to compare. It's like such a competition all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I've struggled in the past with navigating my entrepreneurial journey, which is why I've become like a guidance counselor for entrepreneurs. Like I've been there, like I've experienced this, and it's still a thing that I'm constantly looking for even more solutions for.
Yeah.
Because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And the pivoting is required, the challenges, all of that stuff, it comes with it. And I just feel like oftentimes we either get discouraged too soon, or because we don't feel seen, we just say, you know what, that other person did, they're further anyway, they're gonna get it done, I'll probably just do something else.
I'll wait till they do it. Yeah. And like you said, like I've always seen like the little meme picture where you'll see like a pot of gold on one side. The mining one.
I feel like I'm in your mind right now, man. Like I see you, John.
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah, see? And you get like right there, and you say, you know what, I'm just gonna, and that's a lot of us, is we get right there and we just, for whatever reason, may just give up and give out. So once again, like I said, that's the important piece of having people in your corner, but also just to think, if you were to give up, who would you be depriving that from?
Yeah. So
like and that's another thing too. I think we don't have the responsibility. I don't think we have the weight of who we are and our gifts and abilities. I was always told like your gift is not for you; it's for you to share with somebody else. And I think what happens is we've also become my gift is mine. But the thing about it is, if your gift was yours, you wouldn't have the ability. You wouldn't have somebody else wouldn't be able to find out what theirs is. Your gift may be helping somebody else get to that next stepping stone. But if you're holding your gift to yourself, then people won't understand, what their gift is, but also understand the importance of sharing their gift with somebody else. So once again, the ripple effect, right?
Yeah, and your gift actually doesn't grow when you keep it to yourself. It takes practice.
Yeah,
it's like, because we're all in the same cohort, and some of us we're on different teams, and we need to practice. And you gotta practice the thing that you think you're good at, so you can discover it more. You're just going to remain exactly where you are while the rest of the world continues to grow, and then all you can say is, "Man, I could have." I had that idea, but does it matter if you didn't?
Yeah, if you didn't. My son plays soccer. Both my sons play soccer and basketball, but my son Isaiah, my oldest, really good soccer player. I challenge him often on that aspect of like, I'm glad you're good. Keep practicing, keep working at it, Because just as good as you think you are, there could be somebody better than you. So keep practicing at your crafts and your gift, because, just the reality of, one, I want you to still enjoy it. And a lot of times when you sit on a gift and become stagnant, you just like, like, there's something, an expectation they have with it.
Yeah. A lot of us, we don't have that. We don't prioritize practice.
Mm-hmm.
We all feel like we can be LeBron until we start playing against LeBron.
Yeah.
We'll be behind the screen and we'll say, man, how do you miss that? What?
Yeah, I was LeBron, bro. I can do that. I can do that. And you get out on the court, you're like, oh, he really is 6'8". It really is 260.
Yeah. I really couldn't do no damage against him.
Every shot got blocked. My knees gave out. I promise you, my knees gave out. My knees didn't give out. I'm just saying that, though.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of safety in just leaning on what we imagine that we could be, without doing any of the practice and actually taking the action and just being in the field.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's why I see a lot of people struggle with the business aspect, because I'll give you an example. I did a book event about a year ago, and it was the author's first time coming to like a book event, and it was like no traffic there. It was just like a bad day, weather-wise and all. So it was no traffic. What happened was they had seen what they thought was like, this was going to be my it thing. From that disappointment, they said, you know what, I'm not doing these ever again. Right? And I don't know if they did or didn't. But I'm just thinking about the aspect of how a lot of times we think we see the destination for people, and we don't realize that, like, hey, I was there. I did 4 other events like that, and they didn't work out. Yeah. We just see the destination, not realize. So I'll call those things like practice trials, right? So I'll practice one here, and here. I may not have done anything there, but this next one was amazing. This one was awesome. I had a lot of people who, were able to connect with, but also purchase books. But they look at that one thing and say, well, no, they call it, that is their all end all be all. So with any business, you can run into those things. Yeah. I had a business around the corner from my house there, food joint that just opened up not too long ago. I remember my wife and I, we went in there for a meal. It was just my wife and I. And all I could think to myself was, I hope they don't get discouraged and give up that easily. Yeah. Just because we're the only ones in there, that they don't say, this is it, and give up.
Because they're still mining and they don't know how close they could be. Yeah. Yeah, I think we don't, I think one of the reasons why we don't practice enough and we don't give it enough time is because it's so competitive out there and technology is moving so fast. And when we open up social media, it's typically not because you have a goal or something that you're searching for. You open it up and you're just like, let's see what you got.
What you got? Just scroll. I'm gonna scroll. Oh, okay, you got some good. Oh no, you don't got some good stuff.
And then the algorithm figures out what it wants to feed you, and you're just taking those impressions and feeding yourself with it. And because of that, I think we end up. Like I have diagnosed ADHD, but I think that creates a sort of ADHD-like mentality within a lot of us, because this is a good idea and these tips are a good idea and that side hustle looks pretty good. And it's like, how do I make sure that I maintain my survival and that I can thrive? Because if I don't take this opportunity, then maybe I'm putting myself at a disadvantage. But then what about that what about that that opportunity? And so now we feel like we don't have any time to practice because the practice doesn't produce results right away.
Yeah. So I have this thing where every day I set aside 30 minutes in the evening to like just focus on book stuff. No electronics other than my phone to type. But even then, I'm not going on social media, because what happens during the day, I can like look at all like, I can email this person on social media. I can email this person, how this person, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't get so caught up in trying to like catch up to everything that I've seen. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I've added 4 people today. Those 4 people I can contact. Like in the midst of doing the business, it's understandable. Like you want to be able to establish that. But like you said, you could be ADHD here too. So you can become so scatterbrained that your mind is always racing and never actually doing anything. Yeah. right? So
You can live out a whole experience, but you didn't do it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this, and I email this other person. They can invite me to their school, and they invite me to the school. I could sell 200 books there, and I could do this, blah blah blah. And I've never got to that email that I was supposed to send. That first email. So I had to like get to a point where, like I said, 30 minutes every day is book stuff, and I'm writing it down. I'm writing my ideas out, flushing things out. If I've scrolled all day today, I need to flush everything that I've scrolled out for 30 minutes to actually take down. And that I would kind of declare that my practice time to say, this is a moment where you don't let anything other than what you're doing distract you.
Yeah.
That's hard though.
Yeah.
Hard in my mind.
We often only look at the championship games.
Yeah.
And we swing big.
Yep.
We want the whales. You know what I mean? Yep. You want the whale contracts.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. You got to miss a bunch of shots. You got to fail and trip up and look dumb and be embarrassed and all of that.
But nobody sees the practice. That's the issue.
Yeah, and you don't want people to see you practicing either.
Yeah. Well, no, I think
maybe not you, but
but some those people, yeah. So.
I felt like that before, but at the same time, like I also want to impress myself. And so I try to make it so that I'm just focused on impressing myself.
Gotcha.
Because it's too heavy of a burden to try to always impress others because I don't know their expectations yet.
Yeah.
Man, we've been talking for a while.
I know.
We've been talking for, this might have to be split into two parts. But before we end, I'd like you to think back to your younger self, young John, and maybe a message that would be helpful for other people that see themselves in you at a particular point in their current journey, something that a message that you think would be impactful and powerful so that they can continue to keep pushing forward, something that would have been beneficial to you when you were younger.
Something, I don't know if it would have been, but I know that it's beneficial to me now and that I didn't really realize it till later. The importance of investing in people. Like I said, I didn't realize until I got in like later, like late 20s, early 30s, the importance of those who invested in me when I didn't see my potential. There's been times where I should have been kicked out of schools and didn't get kicked out somehow. There's been times where I shouldn't have gotten that job or I shouldn't have, but it was the investment that people put in me to put me in positions that were actually for my betterment, right? When I was young, I'm an Eagle Scout, right? When I was young, I didn't see the importance of scouting. I just knew it was like, oh, it'd be cool to get your Eagle Scout. But the fact that I'm an Eagle Scout has put me in positions, I'll tell people no, my character has put me in positions where my academics wouldn't have had me in. So I think the biggest thing would be not to talk to my younger self, but talk to people who are talking to younger people, to invest in them, to invest in reminding them how important they are, that they have gifts and abilities, they have strengths, and how important it is for us to like help to cultivate those things. Yeah. Because like I said, I had people always investing in me, and I didn't see it until when you're young, you don't see it, but I see it now, like how important it was to me, for me, and shaping my character, but how I also view and see the world and all the people in it. So yeah,
I love that. You're very motivated by impact, and you don't just look at the world for yourself.
No, I try not to. I mean, every once in a while, I'm human.
But you believe other people outside of you matter, and you want to help as much as you can. Yeah. And we need so many more people like you in the world. There are a lot of people like you in the world. However, not all of them take the action in practice.
Once again, like I fully believe is same with you, right? There's so many people like us in the world who don't have people in their corner, who don't believe in their potential, who don't know that they have the potential. I really doubt it. So that's why I encourage us, people like us, to continue to do that for those people, to let them know, to remind them, to encourage them, to build them up, so they can do the same for other people. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
So 2 more questions.
Sure.
What are you looking forward to?
Looking forward to? After this, a good meal. I don't know. I'm going to go eat somewhere.
That's a good enough answer.
No, but I'm looking forward to. I have a book coming out this week, actually.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Tell me about that.
So it's called My Dragon's Not Laughing.
Okay.
It actually just came from a conversation with kids in the classroom, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to that and the impact that the joy will have. I know I laughed at it creating it, so I'm like, my humor is pretty close to like kiddie humor, so my kids love it. So
Nice.
I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also just looking forward to continue to create stories, teachers, that families, that people can enjoy in general. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. And
how about you? Like, you weren't ready for it. You weren't ready for it.
You brought it back to me.
Brought it back reverse.
Oh man, I am looking forward to exploring more opportunity. We're just being able to practice more with my gift. Because it's not just for me. I've been my own coach for so long. And I've built systems and frameworks that have helped me. And it helps me, but helping other people allows me to make it better. And I love the feeling of watching something grow. Like the framework I created, it's the intention map framework. It's something that I use every day. And it only happens by practicing it and just saying, you know what, I'm going to give myself a shot. I'm going to give these ideas that I have a shot, because why not?
Yeah.
And so I look forward to practicing this year. It's so far it's having conversations with you and other people on this podcast and my clients. It's just been such an amazing journey that's provided me with so many opportunities for growth. And I have the confidence now to take on those opportunities and feel like I can take up some space.
There you go.
So
Dope.
I'm looking forward to reaching more people that find value in things that I have to say.
There you go.
And people that can benefit from my style of coaching.
Yeah.
Because not every style of coaching worked for me.
Yeah.
And so the style that I have, it's something that works for me. And I know that there's other people where that's what makes sense for them. I'm really looking forward to just reaching more people where we have that alignment.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah. And so how can people connect with you?
Wrote by John. So it's WROTEBYJON. Anywhere. You can YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Found it back on a courier pigeon or something. It's probably written on there. But yeah, Wrote by John is the easiest way to find me. WroteByJohn.com, same thing, WROTEBYJON. You can find me there. Books, you can find them anywhere you buy books, pretty much. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on here.
No doubt.
This has been a great pleasure.
Yeah.
I feel like we can talk forever.
Yeah, you probably could have kept going. I was like,
know, we really could, but you gotta go eat.
I gotta go eat.
I gotta go eat.
I was getting hungry. I was like,
I don't know.
Hope don't show up in the mic right now.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I think my stomach grumbled a little bit too. but you know what? It was worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
And I look forward to continuing to build with you.
Hey, man.
You're an awesome person.
Same, man.
And I encourage and empower you to become even more of who you are.
Same.
And not hold back.
Oh, no.
Because there's people waiting to see what more.
Yeah. Same thing, man. As like I said, it's always encouraging, not just as a young man of color, but just as a person, as an individual who fully understands their gifts and abilities. Not people, like I said, some people walk around and don't realize those things in life. But also not just realizing those things, but also helping people reach their potential.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who have potential that just don't have somebody to help them tap into it. So
I know. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But John, thank you so much.
No doubt,
this has been an amazing episode of Finally Motivated.
Yes, sir.
I hope you all found value in this the same way that I have, and you gained some inspiration and motivation for your journey. Thanks, John.
Thanks, man.